The UK has issued just 50 visas to Ukrainians so far, when more than 1 million people have fled the country. Are you happy with that number?
I'm not sure those numbers are right, but we're processing thousands as I speak to you. And clearly this crisis is evolving the whole time. And I've said before that the UK will be as generous as we can possibly be, and we intend to do that. We have two very, very generous routes already. So the family reunion route, which is uncapped, which could potentially see hundreds of thousands of people come to this country, plus there's the humanitarian route. And under that scheme, people can sponsor people coming from Ukraine. We're surging officials into the border countries to help people to come. So to Poland, to Bulgaria, to Romania, also to France. Clearly what's happening now is that Putin is doubling down on his aggression and he is deciding to attack in a pretty indiscriminate way. That's producing huge waves of people. We're going to have to respond to that, and we will. We've always been very generous in the way we respond to people fleeing war zones, and no country in Europe has done more to settle vulnerable people since 2015 than the UK.
You say it's not 50, how many then, Prime Minister?
I can't give you the number. We're processing thousands right now, and we will continue to make sure that we have a very, very generous approach. Are you considering a third route, not based on family members, not based on sponsorship, similar to the EU scheme? What we won't do, let me be very clear, what we won't do is have a system where people can come into the UK without any checks or any controls at all. I don't think that is the right approach, but what we will do is have a system that is very, very generous. As the situation in Ukraine deteriorates, people are going to want to see this country open our arms to people fleeing persecution, fleeing a war zone. I think people who have spare rooms, who want to receive people coming from Ukraine, will want us to have a system that enables them to do that.
Is that the right system?
That is already happening. So what we will do is have a very, very generous and an open approach, but what we won't do is simply abandon controls altogether. And there are very good reasons for that. If you look at the situation in the EU, they have as you know, they have a border-free zone in Schengen. They can't actually impose controls even if they wanted to. We have a different system, and I think it's sensible, given what's going on in Ukraine, to make sure that we have some basic ability to check who is coming in and who isn't. But if you look at the record of this government, just since I've been Prime Minister, we've taken more than 15,000 people under op pitting from Afghanistan. We've had 104,000 people apply from Hong Kong, coming in fear of coming to take advantage of the British nationals overseas scheme from Hong Kong. And we are a very, very generous country. What we want, though, is control, and we want to be able to have checks.
Okay. Did you intervene to secure Evgeny Lebedev a peerage when you discovered the security services thought he posed a national security threat?
That is simply incorrect. But what I can tell you is that...
So you didn't intervene?
What I can tell you is that it suits Putin's agenda to try to characterize this as a struggle between the West and Russia. And it suits his agenda to say that the UK, that we in NATO countries are anti-Russian, or European countries are now anti-Russian. And it's very, very, very important that we get the message over that we're not anti-Russian. We're not against Russians. Our quarrel is simply with the regime and the aggression of Vladimir Putin.
Of course, but if the security services deemed him a risk and you intervened to give him a peerage...
Well, that would obviously be extraordinary, but that's not the case.
So you did not do that?
No, of course not.
Did you meet with him in March 2020 at the height of the pandemic to discuss giving him a peerage?
Listen, it is very, very important.
Did you meet with
him? It is very, very important that this should not turn into a general sense that we're against Russians. Any Russian living in the UK, any Russian who contributes to UK society should suddenly be under suspicion. That suits Putin's agenda. He's going to want to frame this as a conflict between Russia and the West. This is about the Ukrainian people, their struggle against a murderous attack on their liberty and a murderous and a violent attack on cities in Ukraine that have done absolutely nothing to deserve it. And we must not play Putin's game and somehow turn this into a witch hunt against every Russian in the UK. It's absolutely vital. We focus on what Putin is doing, and we call him out for what he's doing. And what we're doing today, what I'm doing today, if I can just explain, is I've got the leaders of Holland and Canada, Justin Trudeau of Canada, Mark Rutte of Holland here with me right now. Later on, I'll be talking to Joe Biden and other colleagues about what we can do to bring the West together and to keep the West together, because I think the unity of the West has been very, very strong during this period, and it's been something that I don't think Putin bargained for. But now that he is going for this really unrestrained attack on cities, now that he's attacking civilians in the way that he is, I think we've got to recognise that we've got to do more on sanctions, and there is more we can do and more that I think we should do. So on SWIFT, there's more that the world can do. On banking, there's more that the world can do. And I think that there is more to be done on sanctioning individuals. So that's why we're bringing in the economic measures under the economic crime bill today, and targeting individuals.
Can I ask you a final question on sanctions?
Yes.
Labour say you're giving oligarchs a get out of London free card by allowing companies 6 months to register. They want to see it cut to something like 28 days. Will you review that time period? We want to
go as fast as we possibly can, but I don't think anybody looking at what is going on at the moment could credibly say that the UK has been a backmarker in this. Don't forget, we were the first country in Europe to offer military assistance to the Ukrainians for their own self-defense. We were the country that led the world on SWIFT, on freezing the assets of the Russian central bank. Look at the impact that is happening, that is having already in Russia. Their stock market still isn't open today. I think they weren't expecting the levels of Western unity and the extent of the sanctions that we're imposing. There's more to be done. We certainly want to go as fast as possible. And that's why I've got the Mark Rutte and Justin Trudeau with me today, and others today. Nothing is off the table, and we'll be talking about all of that later today. Thank you.